It's time to unlock the mysteries of the unseen. Embark on an epic journey with me into the realm of true crime, exploring the untold stories and undiscovered cases where Black women have been tragically impacted. Each episode will take you beyond emotional heartbreak and fuel your passion to do whatever it takes to seek justice and amplify the voiceless. Together, let's shine a spotlight on these forgotten stories and uncover long-lost truths. This is No Tears for Black Girls. It was obvious to everyone the contrast between Janae and Mercedes. One, a sun-filled sky, the other, a thunderous storm. Janae Gagné, the Houstonian responsible for beloved social media persona Miss Mercedes Morr, was a soft whisper in real life. But through her Mercedes identity, she became loud, lively, and vivacious. She shared her dance moves to Genuine's Stingy on Instagram Live, made jokes with photographers during photo shoots, and posed in thong bikinis. In the city of Houston, they often recognized her through her video vixen work or entrancing posts across various platforms. Janae was her daddy's little girl, and he showered her with love, smothered chicken, and taking down her television whenever it was necessary. But when she cuddled with her mother on the familiar spot on their couch under a blanket, warmth and tenderness spread through the air. Her little half-sister London looked up to Janae, clinging to her like a shadow. Whenever they went out for dinner, Janae always tried every appetizer on the menu, an act that often prompted her friends to take pictures of her for Instagram. After holding in her abdomen for what felt like forever, she would plead with them, "Girl, I'm over it now. Let's go take a shot." Unlike Janae's laid-back attitude, Mercedes lit up any room she entered. Perfect makeup and immaculate hair. Monica Jetz, a close friend and manager of Mercedes, admired how different each woman was. Janae got one eyelash on, curled up in bed with a bonnet on her head. That was her element. Like a siren from the sea, Mercedes Morr, with her velveteen skin, cascading mane, and curves that could make men burn, drew 2 million Instagram followers to her glamorous world. Fashion Nova sponsored her on social media. But what some didn't know was she was 33-year-old Janae Gagné. Even those who knew couldn't stop her murder by an obsessed fan. Stefania Okoli of ABC 13 News reported the tragedy that sent shockwaves through the influencer ecosystem. "It's a super scary reality that this could happen to any of us," said Jetz, who manages other Instagram models and has hundreds of thousands of followers herself. Mark Gagné saw Mercedes develop an interest in fashion and business during the few months he watched her before moving back to LA. Even as a 12-year-old, she was making money with her garage styling studio, braiding hair for $60 each session. "She always loved fashion, and she always loved money," Mark said. Mercedes' success never satisfied Mark or her followers. As a teen, Janae glimmered with her bright but aimless spirit as she loitered in the Walmart parking lot. The broken discipline of her parents echoed between their homes in California and Texas, and on her 18th birthday, her father gifted her with luggage so that she could leave home to find herself. Though she attended multiple high schools, tales of altercations haunted her wake. There was often jealousy among the other young girls because of Janae's beauty. London knew the source of their fights wasn't Janae. The day Janae graduated high school, she dreamed of a dazzling future as a dental assistant. Within days, however, she was off to Vegas with a man she knew, trading in her dream for the stage and the name Mercedes Morr. Luxury meant to signify that she always wanted more, says her mother, Janetta. Her parents didn't approve of her decision to dance. London remembers being terrified of Janae's reaction if she found out. But then the money began pouring in. "It was disgusting," Mark admits, $4,000 to $5,000 every weekend. To pay for dinners, it wasn't unusual for Janae to take out a duffel bag from which she'd throw down hundreds of singles in one go. Mercedes used the club scene to her advantage, turning it into a way to support herself until she could become an influencer. From dancing and networking, she grew her audience and kept them wanting more. Talking with Marquis Trill after her first professional photo shoot in 2013, Mercedes talked on how the top Instagram girls all started out as dancers. From her time in Houston, where she made her home base, Mercedes made connections with celebrities like Drake, who dedicated Certified Lover Boy to her. Both Mercedes and London got to experience Drake's personal section at Tuesday's strip club, where he showered them with money and let them order whatever they desired. When asked what made Mercedes stand out in the industry, London replied that she treated no celebrity differently, not giving anyone extra attention for their status. It attracted people to her because of her down-to-earth attitude. Though she'd continued to dance on and off for years, Janae transitioned full-time to modeling and making personal appearances. Her plans included leggings and hair extensions line. Despite her enormous success on social media, she remained comfortable in Houston. They wanted her to move away, change her style, work with people she didn't know, Trill remembered. But Janae wanted to remain in Houston where she felt safe and secure. The money she earned from stripping allowed her to pursue her entrepreneurial dreams without having to compromise. Black entertainment in the trap, in the hood, you can only do so much until somebody comes along and says, "Hey, I want to manage you." But Janae's newfound freedom meant more than anything. It enabled her to make choices that were true to herself. Just before her untimely death, Janae embarked upon a new adventure with her lover, house hunting in Texas. Her sister remembers FaceTiming with him during their tour of the home. It seemed like they'd found just what they'd been looking for. Her stories intertwined. He accepted Janae, which allowed them to discuss marriage and children together. Mercedes started to think about a future beyond urban entertainment. He never spoke to his daughter, Mercedes, again as she chased her dreams. August 17th, 2021. His child had texted him from Washington, D.C., frightened of being alone in her new house until her boyfriend arrived. Janetta, Mercedes' mother, came and decorated after they all met the new beau. But that never happened, because on that fateful day, a foreboding silence descended on their family, moments before death stole away Mercedes' vibrant spirit.
Tonight, dozens of friends and family members of 33-year-old Houston area influencer Janae Gagne gathered at Terry Hershey Park to say goodbye. Police say the woman was murdered late last month by a man who somehow got into her apartment and strangled her. Our Matt Doherty was at the vigil with the story.
This shocking murder is still very much a mystery to so many of the people who showed up to the vigil tonight. The social media influencer known online as Miss Mercedes Morr had millions of followers. They included celebrities such as Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion, and Drake. In fact, Drake dedicated his new album to the model today. TMZ reports Cardi B has been invited to Gagne's celebration of life service tomorrow. At tonight's vigil, we heard from her parents.
She just was so happy and so funny and just so loving, and she just loved to joke
It would be all
around.
about her.
Yeah, as it is.
We wouldn't be up here. It would be all about you.
As it should be. As about her. And again, we're going to remember that amazing spirit, that funny laugh, that 4'11" body, but that 8 foot tall, experience that we all got. So I appreciate her and love her, and we'll miss her forever and ever. Ever and ever.
Richmond police have released a few details on the murder so far. However, they believe the death was part of a murder-suicide. Police say 34-year-old Florida man Kevin Accordo strangled Gagne, then stabbed himself to death on Sunday. They have not said what they believe was the motive for the crime. Tonight, family members and friends shared their tears and their memories of a life that was taken far too soon. From West Houston, I'm Matt Doherty, KHOU 11 News.
The crashing boom of Mark Gagner's kicks echoed throughout Janae's Houston home as he attempted to gain entrance. An unnerving chill engulfed him as soon as he stepped foot in the doorway. All that remained was Mercedes Morr, familiar to her Instagram followers, lying lifeless on the ground, cold and lifeless from Kevin Accordo's murderous nihilism. The Richmond Police Department arrived at the scene to document the tragedy that had taken place. The female victim displayed evidence of severe trauma to her upper body, and her attacker lay lifeless in a pool of his own blood. Mark Gagne had sensed something was wrong when his daughter failed to answer his calls, but no amount of worrying could have prepared him for what he encountered in her humble abode. Speaking to ABC News with a quivering voice, he expressed shock and grief. Conveying nothing could have braced him for what he beheld. They left the city in shock as the police announced the murder of Janae Gagne. Investigators sifted through evidence to reveal the link between killer and victim, 33-year-old Florida man Kevin Accordo. As more details of this heinous crime came to light, so did questions about justice and retribution. The truth about Gagne and Accordo laid in the murky abyss, leaving Richmond police desperate for clues to resolve this perplexing case. It overcame Mark Gagnier with agony when he heard they had taken his daughter away from him. Janae's Instagram page shone with her timeless fashion choices and kind demeanor, drawing over 50,000 followers. "My daughter possessed such grace. She faced life head-on," Mark said. "Her beauty will stay within me forever." The investigation into Janae Gagnier's death had haunted the community. Her family and friends had planned to preserve her legacy. Through a GoFundMe page where they gathered funds to cover funeral costs, justice still eluded them. They were mounting with apprehension every passing day, praying for the truth to be unveiled and the perpetrator to be brought to justice. Meanwhile, Janae's death was a solemn reminder that domestic violence continued to pervade society. The case became a spectacle as an anonymous witness called the hotline, with information connecting Kevin Accorto to the murder of Janae Gagnier. The people closest to him knew that his mental state was slipping away, and troubling signs in his character were growing clearer. Detectives had unearthed evidence of Kevin's involvement in Janae's life. They found evidence that he and Mercedes Morr had connected over conversations about philosophy at their local cafe until the late hours of the night. Although it seemed odd that she canceled dates, Kevin kept trying, often calling her with no response. It all culminated when they met up outside Janae Gagnier's house. Witnesses heard raised voices before Kevin left, leading them to suspect an altercation occurred between the two prior to her death, a sign of his resentment-fueled anger. The news rocked the community, especially those familiar with both parties. Pieces of the unsolved puzzle pieced together as a horror story unraveled for those around. They had ensnared the victim in Kevin's malevolent grasp. Any previous relationship was now forgotten. The reports of Janae's murder spread like a poisonous vapor, intensifying the shock that had already swept through their small community. Kevin was suspected for her death. It was murmured that she'd been unfaithful and paid dearly for it. An old colleague from their joint venture, a dancer, only added fuel to this vile rumor, claiming that he had merely been one of her clients.
It's just what I guess they do as individuals that have clients. You've got the emperor in the upright here. She actually thought that she was in control of the entire situation. However, this guy had already fell in love with her. It seems like this was a business transaction. He was just another client, and he actually fell for somebody that he was literally paying for a service. At the end of the day, he was paying for her services. I'm hearing this wasn't his first time at the complex.
Witnesses have spoken of Kevin and Janae's relationship, revealing that Kevin was more than just a paying customer for Janae. He had visited her apartment and grew envious when she began seeing another man. It seems likely that Kevin wanted something far deeper than a transactional connection with Janae.
Somebody felt as if some type of action or some type of interaction was no longer there due to another individual. You've got two kings here and both of them are in the reverse. Maybe they were aware of additional individuals that she was or maybe was involved with. Maybe they were aware of her. Of course, I don't see this guy as not believing that she couldn't be involved with anybody else besides him, but it just seems to me as I get a vibe from him, whereas he sort of wanted her to himself.
I know her family said that she didn't know him, but there is an energy that suggests that she does, that she knew him before. Okay, he wasn't a stranger, he was known to her. Let's say playing him or potentially conning him with this kind of story. Yeah, there is a story between them that she was giving to him, and it worked for some time. Okay, this is how he saw her, as somebody that was in need of healing, someone that needed protecting, someone who, we have the star, so someone very glamorous and a celebrity and fame and that type of thing. Yeah, she is the star and he was a nobody. She felt that she had everything together, her whole story together. She had, what it takes to finesse him. Okay? And unfortunately, this is where a lot of people go wrong. Yeah? I think it can be a lesson for many, many people. Because saying that she did not know him really doesn't make any sense. There's no sign of break-ins. There was no reports of anybody hanging around her apartment and so on and so forth. And
Listen closely to this week's episode and beyond. Repost, like, follow, share, and spread the word about No Tears for Black Girls on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter.